Members, today I'm presenting Senate Bill 1343, which requires that employers with 5 or more employees provide training on sexual harassment prevention to non-supervisory employees. The way that non-supervisory employees are currently informed about sexual harassment prevention policies and procedures is through a poster, but there is no requirement to provide training to non-supervisory employees. A 2001 study found that even a 30-minute training session resulted in participants being more knowledgeable about harassment than those who had not participated in any training at all. We are sensitive to the delicate balance between business costs to employers as well as employee safety in the workplace. We're working collaboratively with vested interests to draft language that will ensure temporary and seasonal employees who may be at a higher risk of harassment also be provided training. I'm glad to have with me today Janine Yancey, founder and CEO of Emtrain, and Evan Goldberg, representing State Controller Betty Yee, who is sponsoring this legislation.
Great.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair, members. Thank you, Senator Mitchell, for bringing this important bill. Again, my name is Janine Yancey. I am a 20-plus year lawyer specializing in these issues of preventing workplace harassment. I've seen this issue from all sides. I have represented employees. I've represented employers. I've experienced sexual harassment myself a few times early in my career, all which led me to start Emtrain over a decade ago, which is currently a 45-person culture technology company providing online education on sexual harassment, bias, and ethics, because we believe that up-leveling people's understanding and skills of those topics help create a healthier workplace culture. So I would like to perhaps confine my comments to 5 points today, and starting with why SB 1343 will move us forward. So I think that if we want to create respectful workplaces, which is, I think, a term used in the current government code 12940 subsection K, where all employers have an obligation for a respectful workplace, then mandating harassment training just for the supervisors is not enough to get enough critical momentum to actually change the culture, right? So the managers are typically 1/4 of an organization, and you have a whole lot of other employees that you're not influencing, you're not affecting. Plus, those employees, the non-managers, are the ones that typically need the support. They're less empowered. They're usually more junior, less savvy, less informed about their rights, and less empowered to effectuate their own situation. So those are the folks that really need the support and guidance of a program like education and guidance on these issues. Also, providing education to those employees ideally should just be tailored to their needs. So managers have a whole separate set of obligations reflecting their managerial duties, and that's why AB 1825 mandates a 2-hour program. As an employee, you need a lot less than that information, and that's why we're suggesting a 1-hour program tailored to their needs. Secondly, SB 1343 will expand the training mandate to employers with just 5 employees, and currently it's employers with 50 employees. And I think this is helpful because the small businesses, the employers with just 5 employees up to 50, are usually the ones that have less staff and less people able to create a professional environment. And so the employees of those businesses are usually the ones that are more vulnerable because there's less staff, there's less people to create that professional environment and to educate and guide. So by doing a mandate that applies to more employers, I think that you're serving and supporting a very large demographic here in California. A couple other points. Current requirements on AB 1825. So currently the law mandates harassment training of employers with 50 or more employees. The supervisors or managers, 2 hours of interactive content every other year. I want to talk a little bit about what doesn't work about that. So unfortunately, over the last decade or so, the employer community has largely taken a defensive posture with that. And what I mean by that is their intent in all the programs to address that need has largely been driven by a need to reduce or minimize claims, and your intent usually dictates the outcome you get. And so because the intent has been employer-driven to reduce or defend against claims, you're not getting an up-leveling of skills and education. What has changed in our environment? I think what's changed is demographics and social media. So when I say demographics, we've got people that have historically not been well represented in the power structure of organizations, feeling more and more comfortable to speak up and less tolerant of bad behavior. Additionally, we have social media so that anyone in an organization who is comfortable speaking up can now easily shine a light on bad behavior. So less tolerance for bad behavior and more visibility into bad behavior. Lastly, what works? In the 10+ years that I've been at Emtrain working with workforces in California, so we work with about 1,000 workforces in California, mid-sized workforces all the way up to Fortune 50 workforces. And regardless of the size and the industry vertical, there are a few common denominators in terms of things that do work. So what typically works is generally good quality content, typically illustrated by or focused on good video scenes, so stories and video scenes reflecting current events, things that are happening in the news, things that are happening in everyday kind of community that people are talking about, because the idea is you need to get folks in the workplace talking about these issues. They're often not easy black and white issues. They're often shades of gray. And so you need to educate folks and up-level their skills to talk about these issues. And in addition, you need to provide learner interaction such that people can learn from each other and learn from the community rather than passively just hear a one-sided employer message that often doesn't result in an up-leveling. So all in all, I think that that's really the ideal of getting people up-leveled to a point where they're educated and able to create healthy workplace cultures, which I know in California is ideally what we want to model.